The sun was barely up, painting the sky in soft pinks and golds, when I step adento, my front yard toolbox in hand, ready-to install a sleek, new smart lock on my pool gate. My name's Henry Thompson, a retard engineer with a penchant for precision meons. Always clipped to perfection, my hedges trimmed, like they're auditioning for a magazine spread, this quiet corner of Willow Grove, me hard-earned sanctuary, was supposed to be a place of peace, but that Saturday morning peace was the last thing I'd get us. I hummed an old Motown tune, a shadow loomed over my neatly laid tarp, a kid barely old enough to drive stood there, blonde hair, artfully tousled, pointing a finger in my face. Like he was starring in a courtroom drama. I know what you're up to, and you're not getting away with it, he barked. I blinked, screwdriver for sin. Getting away with what? Upgrading my own property, buckle up, thistle of neighborhood nonsense, is a wild ride and mud. I'd love to hear where you're reading from. Drop your city and country bellow, because I suspect this kind of drama isn't unique to Willow Grove. Tall started with that kid who I'll call Junior Pest, leaning against my low hedge with the swagger of a wannabe dictator. You can't put that thing on there, he snipped, eyeing my smart lock like it was a ticking bomb. I'm a patient man. Decades off navigating corporate minefields taught me to keep cool, though I offered aid a polite good morning. This is just a safety upgrade for my grandkids, his response, a puffed-up chest and a sneer. It's against the rules. I order you to stop. Order me. I almost laughed, but the entertainment in his pale green eyes stopped me cold. This wasn't about the luck. It's a security risk, he scoffed, ignoring my explanation of its emergency access features. Then came the kicker, pissed like a bad movie villain. I know what you're really up to, the air turned heavy. If you don't take it off, I'm calling the cops. My mom's a big deal around here, and she'll make you regret moving in there. It was raw prejudice, thinly veiled. As a black man who'd climbed every ladder life through at me'd seen that look before, and not tightened in my gut. But I folded my arms, steady as ever. Go ahead, son. Call them. Headed within minutes. A patrol car rolled up, tires loud against the asphalt. Junior Pest smoothed his hair, practical libensing with self-importance. Two officers stepped out, Sergeant Daniel Solder with a weathered palm and Officer Tate, younger and itching for action. Junior launched into his tale, finger jabbing at me. He's tampering with a security fence. I told him to stop, and he threatened me. Threatened the kid was rewriting history with Oscar-worthy flair. I handed over my ID, voice even. I'm Henry Thompson, homeowner, just installing a lock for my grandkids' safety. I gestured to my toolbox, the manual, the half-installed device. Daniels raised on a brow at Junior. You said he was aggressive. The kid faltered, but before could dig himself deeper, a gleaming SUV roared up. Out stepped a woman who could only be Junior's mother. Let's call her Vanessa Sharp, the self-proclaimed queen of Willow Grove. Vanessa strode over, blonde hair perfect, athleisure cramming wealth officers. What's that problem? She demanded, ignoring me entirely. Her son rushed to her side, whining about my weird device. Her cold eyes flicked to me. So you're the Nuna Bar? I'm Vanessa Sharp, head of the HOA's Architectural Review Committee. Her tone made neighbors sound like a slur. In nodded. Henry Thompson, just securing my pool. She scoffed, echoing her son's secure. That contraption violates our standards. Daniel's cut in, ma'am, he's on his property. Unless it breaks city code, it's on HOA matter. Vanessa's smile was all teeth. Oh, Mr. Mesa Thompson, we have a covenants. Unapproved changes lead to fines. She turned to her son. Let's Godderling. They sped off, leaving me with a sinking certainty this was war. The first salvo came a week later, crisp envelope citing my unapproved pool gate hardware. The notice, signed with Vanessa's flourishing scrawl, demanded I remove the lock or face $50 daily fine. Another arrived, claiming my lawn sharp edges were excessively manicured. Matte, too vibrant for Willow Grove's muted palette. The absurdity was gling. Vanessa was weaponizing the HOA's vague rules her signature. A whip crack on every notice, I responded to each certified mail with specs photos and polite requests for clarification my corporate training kicked. In paper trails or power butt, Vanessa didn't stop at paperwork. My recycling bin was mysteriously tipped over. Dog droppings appeared by my rose likely courtesy of her yappy poodle princess. Anonymous noise complaints brought a baffled city inspector to my quiet yard in the stairs. Vanessa Ann Jr.'s relentless hostile glares every time I stepped outside were a compento make me feel like an intruder in my own home. The emotional toll was real late nights. I'd wrestle with anger why this over a lock, but giving in wasn't an option. I installed Discretech Amera's citing HOA rules on property security and started a journal logging Gavery incident. Neighbors began to notice Mrs. Elson across the street offered a shinod Mr. Goldstein, a tomato enthusiast, mooted. Vanessa's been a nightmare for years at a community cleanup. Sarah Miles, a young mom, whispered, "What she's doing to you is awful. She'll find us over her kids' slide." Tom, a reclusive dower, grumbled about news purplisement notices. A quiet resistance was forming, and my meticulous fight was giving them courage. The showdown came. Ayton HOA meeting held in the clubhouse. Sterile glow. Vanessa flanked by jittery board members Mr. Klein and Mrs. Harapond, with a tirade brandishing blurifidos of my menacing lock, aggressive lawn, and jarring Matt, Mr. Thompson diffuser standards, she declared, expecting me to crumble. I stood briefcase in handsuit, crisp I'd like. To respond with facts, I presented the lock safety features, city code, compliance, and Photosoft similar devices in upscale areas. My lawn. I showed Vanessa's own razor-edged grass. The mat I flashed a decor magazine, nay-praising dark green. Then the bombshell of received 17 notices in 3 months. Many baseless here's footage of Mesh Sharpson damaging my lawn and her dog fouling me roses. Gasps filled the room. Junior shouted, "That's fake." I didn't flinch. Timestamps are clear and originals area available. I urged the board to dismiss fines and review. Vanessa's conductor face turned scarlet, but the board cornered by evidence. Tabled sanctions. Vanessa's grip was slipping. Her hypocrisy, finding my lawn while her own was pristine, nagged at me was as rule-abiding as she claimed. Dug into HOA minutes and city records. My engineers. I spotting odditus botifimic, funds favoring Vanessa's street, vague invoices for an insistent firms. Then jackpot. Her garden shed city permits allowed a 10 by 12 structure. But hers was a mansion, air-conditioned, plumbed, wired, a guest house, sun-permitted, and illegal. The irony was delicious. Vanessa, who hounded me over a mott, was hiding a code violation that could tank her property value. Revenges and my goal. Justice was I drafted an anonymous letter to the city detailing sheds violations with permit copy and satellite images mailed from another town. It was untraceable. 3 weeks later, Acity truck parked at Vanessa's from Mimerolds. I watched her stiffen as an inspector headed to her backyard. Her gestures grew frantic. Rumors swirl of Vanessa's in trouble over a huge shed. Mr. Goldstein confirmed an unpermitted dwelling unit. Fines Lumad. Mabe. Demolition. I stayed polite, my good morning sharp cheery, as her paranoia grew. She had no proof. I tipped the city, and that drove her wild. Vanessa's unraveling was public. At the next HOA meeting, a resident grilled her about the shed's peachlesser authority crumbled. Weeks later, a demolition crew arrived. Saucewine timbers fell, and her dream was ruble. I sipped coffee on my porch, not gloating, just satisfied. Vanessa's reign was over. She scurred, now avoiding ice rumors of selling her house. Trailing her junior mumbled hello. His bravado gone. Willow Grove breathed easier. Neighbor smiled. Home meetings turned civil. Miss Martlock gleamed. My mat stayed green. Me grandkids splashed safely. Reflecting I saw the ugliness of prejudice. Vanessa Jr. didn't hate the lock, they hated me, a black man daring to thrive in their world. But I fought with dignity, anger, using evidence over emotion, patience, won not vengeance. Venice Adamful wasn't my doing. She built her empire on hypocrisy, and truth tore it down. I just lit the match. Willow Grove sphere, now a real community, sometimes is pot, a dandelion in my lawn, and smiley imperfections. Human, this saga taught me. Can't pick your fights, but you can't choose how to wage them. Dignity, facts, and patience are unbeatable. Drop a comment. Have you faced a neighborhood irritant auto-generated?